So story time. I just want to share with you what it was like working in the VA hospital during COVID from the beginning. So with that said, as you can imagine, working in a hospital was crazy because it was scary and we really didn't know what was going on, regardless of all the information that we were getting. Nobody had experienced anything like this. So the hospital decided we would have this large meeting, and in that meeting was the staff managers. I was a staff manager, the heads of department, as well as the heads of the hospital. So when we came out of that meeting, what we decided was that only doctors, nurses, and the EMS workers would be the ones to go in the COVID patient's room. Now, we had several COVID patients and they were quarantined in these glass solid rooms. Now, if you don't know what an EMS worker is, an EMS worker is the people who sanitize the rooms before a patient gets there and after they leave. So they usually do daily cleanings in the rooms regardless of what the patient has. So it was my job to tell the EMS workers exactly how they would go in these rooms and what they would do in these rooms. So what they would do is put on full PPE or MOP level 4 for you military people, where we had to mask up and be covered from head to toe to go in and sanitize these patients' rooms. Now, what you also need to understand about the EMS team was that most of them were from the ages of about 45 to about 65, which meaning they was the highest exposed demographic at that time, and we had already lost 2 or 3 patients from COVID. So they were scared, they were nervous, and it made sense to me. And I remember having the meeting where I was having the conversation with them about what they were going to have to do. And I don't know why, but my military instinct kicked in. And as I'm describing what they have to do and I'm watching how scared they are and feeling how palpable the fear is, I remember just out of nowhere going, you know what? As a leader, I can't ask you to do something I'm not willing to do myself. Just something I learned from the military. So I volunteered to be the first one to go clean a room. So I put on the full gear. I cover myself from head to toe. I put the mask on and I go clean the first room. Now, this person, I remember going into their room to clean it and they were on a respirator struggling to live. Every breath looked like any moment it could be their last one. And we still hadn't figured out exactly how to fix this or how to combat it or counteract it or anything. And I had to sanitize their room, pull out the trash, change the sheets, wipe down everything, disinfect everything, remove all the debris, remove the syringe buckets and all those different things. So I did the first room, the second room, the third room, and the fourth room. And by the time I was done with the fourth room, I was drenched in sweat and my heart was beating to the point where you could hear it outside. You could hear it outside the uniform and all the gear I had on. So I peeled off my gear and I told the team, all right, guys, I did the first 4. Now it's your turn. And again, I'm watching them glove up and put on all the uniform and everything, and they were scared to death. I watched them shake as they put all the stuff on, and I understood it because I know they didn't want to take that home to their families. I know they didn't want to die from COVID. I understood it. So with that said, I couldn't let them go in there by themselves. So the first couple of rooms I did with whoever went in. So as one of the EMS workers would go in, I would go in with them. And so by the end of that day, I think we had cleaned 30 something rooms that way, or we had did 36 or 37 cleanings or something like that. And I was dog tired. But at the end of it, I recognized how much respect they had for me. And I wasn't doing it to gain respect. I was doing it to help them overcome some of their fear. I figured if they saw me do it and I could be cool about it, maybe they would gain some courage from that. Well, when it was over, those guys did a phenomenal job. I never went back in any rooms. Again, they did a phenomenal job, but I never had an issue in the hospital again with anybody following any instructions I had because they felt like I was willing to get in the fight with them. I was willing to get in the foxhole with them. I was willing to share in the danger. If you are a leader, sometimes you have to lead from the front by doing it first. Sometimes you're going to have to lead by being the example. Sometimes you're going to have to lead by putting yourself in the fire and making sure you come through so your people can see that if you made it, they can make it as well. So with that said, remember that the goal is growth. Growth happens in the journey. Enjoy it.